All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a UFC fight review. So we're going to UFC Fight Night, Brunson versus Shabazyan. We're going to the Flyweight co-main event. Joanne Calderwood coming in at 14-4, taking on Jennifer Maia coming in at 17-6-1. Now Calderwood came in as a pretty late replacement here. She replaced, I want to say, Viviane Araujo. Calderwood putting a lot on the line here. She was scheduled like a couple times, she was supposed to be scheduled a couple times to face the champion, Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko recovering from knee surgery, keeps pushing that date back. She said, well, I'm going to take a fight in the meantime anyway. So Calderwood come in, putting a lot on the line here. So fight starts, and Maia, she wasn't really throwing too many kicks. She preferred to work with her hands, and she was working very fast, throwing a lot of combinations, and her right hand found its mark almost every time. Calderwood, on the other hand, was mostly resorting to kicks, particularly the push kick that she loves using a lot. She was trying to keep the fight at range. Now, as far as speed goes, Maia was moving a lot faster than she has in recent fights. You almost got to wonder, she made weight this time, and whereas the last couple fights she missed weight, did the weight cut have an effect on her speed? It's certainly a possibility. Now, compare that to Calderwood. Now, Calderwood is always kind of slow and plodding, but in this fight, it was like she was moving underwater. So they're going at it, and Maia is definitely getting the better of the stand-up. She throws a right high kick, I believe it was right, that Calderwood catches and takes her down. Maia tried to get up, but Calderwood was able to keep her down, which is nice from Calderwood. One point, Maia was using the omoplata to try to defend, working on the right arm of Calderwood. Went back to guard, latched on the high guard, put up the high guard. From there, she latched on the arm bar. Now, Calderwood tried to defend, put her right knee on Maia's head because the arm bar was on the left arm. Calderwood had her right knee on Maia's head. Wasn't able to really keep her balance. I think at that point it was already in too deep anyway. Maia rolls, gets the arm bar, fully extends it. Calderwood has no choice but to tap. So your winner, Jennifer Maia, via submission due to armbar, 4 minutes, 29 seconds of round one. So like I mentioned earlier, big risk for JoJo, and it did not pay off at all. She took a gamble, and this was a real gamble. If you're out there and you're betting on a sure thing, then you're not really gambling. She bet on herself to win against Maia on 2 weeks' notice. This is a definition of a gamble, and problem with gambling is you don't always win. She did not win this time. Big leap here for Maia. She finally made weight, seemed to get her weight cut under control. And she finally showed, what Invicta fans have known that she is capable of. Mixing up with the best of them high up in the division. She is the former Invicta champ. She looked good in this fight. She looked very good. One thing I want to mention is that Joanne Calderwood is an example of why I don't jump on hype trains. Like, pretty much ever. I've never been a big fan of jumping on these hype trains because, well, one of the reasons is that as soon as the fighter loses, a lot of people just straight up abandon them. For me, it's if I like a fighter, I'm going to stick with them. If I don't like a fighter, I might change my mind later on. But I don't jump on hype trains just because, they're popular at the moment and they're doing good at the moment. For me, I've got to see what a fighter is truly capable of before I can go, okay, this fighter is the real deal. Joanne Calderwood, I've never been a fan of hers since the earliest days. I never understood the hype behind her. She has, blown it again and again and again. And she is an example of why I don't get on hype trains, because her hype train was building again at Flyweight. JoJo 2.0, JoJo 2.0. It's like, No, I'm not getting on this hype train. Didn't get on it at strawweight. Definitely wasn't about to get on it at flyweight. So Calderwood, prime example of why I don't deal with hype trains. Anyway, for things to work on. For Jennifer Maia, she needs to set up her kicks better. That kick that she threw that Calderwood was able to catch and take her down with wasn't properly set up. So you got to set up your kicks so that your opponent doesn't see it coming and doesn't have the time to react to it. For Calderwood, okay. So her lack of speed, that's something that I don't think she's going to be able to fix at this point. She's 34 years old. She's always been slow. If she was able to improve her speed, she probably would have done it by now. So unfortunately, that probably can't be fixed. What can be fixed, though, is fight IQ. Why would you take a superior ground fighter down? It made no sense. Like, going into this fight, everybody said she's not going to want to mess with Jennifer Maia on the ground. A lot of people thought that was actually Jennifer Maia's best chance was on the ground. So why would you take a superior ground fighter down to the ground? I don't know if it was just complete lack of fight IQ. Maybe it was overconfidence in her so-called improved ground game. I don't know, but it was definitely poor fight IQ here as well. Also, she needs to work on her positional awareness because I don't think she knew where she was on the ground as far as leaving her arms out there because her arms were wide open for that arm bar. So she needs to work on her positional awareness because, I mean, she was in the omoplata and then she got adjusted for that high guard, which, you know, sometimes fighters use the high guard just to keep a fighter broken down and keep their base low. But a lot of times, it's to set up submissions. So she should have been more aware that Maia might have been going for the armbar as soon as she brought up the high guard, and Calderwood should have brought her arms in close. And then finally, head movement. I don't think I've ever seen Calderwood take her head off of the center line. Like, ever. In her entire career, I don't think she's ever moved her head, which just leaves her open to strikes. And, I mean, when you're a fighter, you're as pale as she is, and a fighter who tends to bleed as much as she does. She's going to get hit in the head. She's going to start bleeding, or she's going to start turning red. It happens in every Calderwood fight. And does she ever learn head movement? No, she doesn't. So maybe she just is incapable of learning how to move her head. But that's definitely something she needs to work on. Now for fights to make. For Calderwood, well, Lauren Murphy's up there. You know, she's trying to work her way up the ranks to get closer to the title shot. She could take on Lauren Murphy. Or, alternatively, Calderwood could take on the loser of I versus Andrade. She has fought Andrade in the past. Andrade beat her via guillotine. She's never fought I before. But whoever loses that, both of them will be coming off a loss. Makes a good matchup. You know, one of them has to win to get back into the mix of things. So you know, either one of those two fighters would be a good matchup as well. For Maia, well, she said she wants to fight for the title now. Calderwood was supposed to be the one lining up to fight for the title. Maia said, I want to fight for the title. And then Shevchenko tweeted out, and they showed it on the screen. She said, see you soon. So that is the fight to make. And even Dana White said that's probably next. So obviously, Maia's going to get the title fight. If she wins, she joined an elite club of fighters who went from being Invicta champ to then UFC champ. That's a pretty elite club there. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. Shevchenko just seems leagues above everyone, but it'd be a nice thing to think about. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the fight. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Of course, if you like the video, please give it a like and share it as well. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.